How much?
How much you gotta spend?
Frank, this is more than a month's salary.
Out here, it is all about our hustle.
You really have to take us to the station.
We're everywhere. We have been everywhere for a really long time.
Happy International
Whores
Day.
Day.
I am here with the incredible Ceyenne Doroshow. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you. I can't believe whores have a day.
We do.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's June 2nd.
I'm going to hang my thong out on the window ledge.
Hang your flag high and proud.
Yes.
Or better yet, take your thong off, throw it against the wall, and see if it's
Or
sticky.
Use it as a slingshot and take cops out.
Oh, fantastic. This is a day where we celebrate the birth of the sex worker rights movement, which happened June 2nd, 1975 in the churches of France. And we'll get into the details of that in just a minute. But I first heard this incredibly inspiring and what's it called? Not enough people know this story, but I first heard of it at Desiree Alliance, which is where you and I met. This really fantastic academic and organizer, Eurydice Aroni, gave an incredible presentation on this. She's done a brilliant radio broadcast on this. So, like every organizing movement ever, this was not birthed out of the ether in a vacuum. Nothing existed in a vacuum. The trouble started in France when they, surprise, surprise, tried to eradicate prostitution. So in 1960, France, which was this bastion of sexual freedom and a place where whores were celebrated, tries to eliminate the oldest profession, and that goes terribly wrong. So they shut down the brothels. And then, like in many black markets, the police tried to get a cut of it, right? So police officers started pimping out women. They started offering quote unquote police protection in exchange for money. And this all culminates in 1973 with this very big scandal in France where the police are caught with their hand in the proverbial
cookie
honey
jar.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So there's this huge public reaction that's like, the police are not supposed to be primping out prostitutes. They're supposed to be protecting and serving and helping to walk dogs or whatever it is that police officers do. So what do the police officers do in response to this public scandal? Do they clean up their act?
Arrest the girls.
Of course.
Take us out.
Talk about blaming the victim.
Well, they gotta make us victims. Then how would they clean up all of that money they've stolen? Right. So, let's take out the whores because we got their money anyway.
Yeah, it's, we keep being shocked over and over and over again that police officers are brutes.
I'm never shocked. I think all of them have had their hands in a cookie jar or, had the occasional blowjob by a whore.
I mean, my father used to say there's nothing more terrifying than somebody making, a little bit of money with a little bit of power. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you get a genuinely powerful person and they're far enough removed from the atrocity that they can find it within themselves to be nice to people. You give somebody $30,000 a year and a gun and they're pistol whipping people for just to feel like their dicks get big or whatever the fucking thing is. France criminalizes not prostitution. Prostitution is technically legal, but they criminalize everything around prostitution. And this is a tactic that we saw recently. Canada had a Supreme Court case overturning these laws as unconstitutional. You weren't involved in it, but you remember that. There was a big news story, and we're a little bit worried that when you decriminalize prostitution, or even worse,
it all bellies up because anything you do, you're going to, if you go for decrim, automatically the Johns are going to get arrested. If you even walk near a corner or look slightly seductive, you're going to get arrested. We live in a land of twerk. Really, bitches? if we go for decrim, we have to look that we're not only going to be taxed, but that everybody else becomes the opponent.
Well, we've seen before that like laws against prostitution or like laws ostensibly against prostitution have been used to just round up women that were in the wrong place at the wrong time or wearing the wrong thing or looking the wrong way or pissing the wrong police officer off.
Look at the traffic courts.
Yeah.
You're sent to a stupid fucking class to do what? Sit there and make some person is making $50,000 to $60,000 a year to keep you in a class to tell you about STDs. Right. Really, bitch? I need you. Tell you how to put on a condom? I don't think so.
There's nothing scarier than somebody who says they're from the government and they're here to help. It's interesting. I was talking to Suraj Patel, who is somebody we'll talk to later, and I was saying, you know, prostitutes have been running from like police brutality and violent Johns on the one side, and like do-gooders who are too dumb to know that they're doing harm. Hey, and the body count is frankly the same on both sides of that terrible
There's no
coin.
even margin. No.
So 1960, France tries to criminalize all of the activities around prostitution. The police get their hands in the honeypot, as they are wont to do in any black market. 1973, big scandal happens. The police overreact in the worst way by going after prostitutes, and they do it they have a lot of, when the state decides to go after a population, they have a lot of tools at their disposal. So the first thing they do is they stop sex workers from being able to operate out of hotels, forcing the trade onto the street, which of course causes a bit of a public scandal and a public reaction. Then they start fining people for loitering, which is they criminalize standing around, which I can't even. Don't get me started.
I guess I loiter every moment of my life.
Right. Yeah. It's like suspicious standing. Is that like, are we really comfortable with a government criminalizing your right to stand places and be a person? So the other thing that they do is they sick whatever the French equivalent of the IRS is on these girls, and they guesstimate
how much they're making
based on the worst stereotypes and false information and lies about sex workers. So I mean, at my height, I never saw more than like 5-6 clients a day. These estimates are being based on like 10, 12, 20, 30 people. So these
You'd
women,
have to be an Energizer fucking bunny.
You would have to be like, I don't even know what kind of operation would be running with that kind of efficiency. I mean,
would have to have wall repair. Right. Lots of wall repair. Listen, guys, just dip yourself in lube and keep it moving. Like a conveyor belt.
Yeah, exactly. Lube, I think, would be the secret ingredient in that
lemon
kind of
juice
operation.
To close it back up after one goes out.
Ow. Ooh, it burns just thinking about it. Anyway, these women are getting tax bills that are more than their entire income, and they're using an isolating tactic that we've seen here in the U.S., where they criminalize the people around sex workers. So are you a roommate or a boyfriend or a lover or a neighbor or just a friend of a sex worker? Well, now you get charged with pimping. And of course, the modern equivalent of that is trafficking. So these women are being socially ostracized. They're being given ludicrous tax bills, and they're being fined for standing around. This, in addition to the usual police brutality, humiliation, and sexual assault. At the same time, a serial killer pops up to take advantage of this newly marginalized population, running from police into the arms of predators. The prostitutes,
much like what's going on today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you criminalize a population, you make them more vulnerable.
Marginalize them, and they're going to have to survive.
Yeah, they're more exploitable, and they're easy targets. So the serial killer that's preying on sex workers in France, a lot like Jack the Ripper from England, but because it's France, let's call him Jacques the Ripper. Because we never found his identity, because police never looked for him. They simply harassed women who were trying to report this violent crime. That I think is really an under-discussed problem with criminalizing.
Yeah.
sex work is that it handicaps our ability to report.
Because you can never report anything because you become the criminalized.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'll wait. I'm okay. I'm not going to be probed by you after I was just attacked.
Yeah.
I'll wait. Yeah,
It's like you don't want to set yourself up to be re-victimized. But it's interesting to me that, like, as a society, we say, I don't know.
It's kind of that keep the secret kind of thing. Like, as a family, we never talk about shit in public.
Yeah.
It's kind of shaming, slut shaming, women shaming. It's kind of saying, it's all right. You just come in and we're going to criminalize you because you've been victimized already.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it just a little more. You take just a little more in your ass, and you're going to feel good about it after we criminalize you.
Well, it seems like a weird kind of like gaslighting in that ostensibly the police are here to help, protect and serve, protect against violent criminals. But what they're doing is they're just upholding the worst elements of violent misogyny by making it impossible for victimized people to come forward and have any chance at justice. So you let a serial killer loose because you're super concerned about a group of women that make men come for a living? Like, that feels like the wrong thing to crack down on.
They've done it to almost every starlet we know that was a hoe. And in Nicole, they terrorized the bitch until she practically committed suicide.
Marilyn Monroe is another example.
Monroe. The list goes on and on. How did Mae West pass away? But another hoe.
Mae West was the hoe. We got to do an episode on her.
Another hoe.
She was fantastic.
But long legacies of hoes. One of the Neros, one of the Empress was a hoe. Yeah. They criminalized her. This is an Empress.
Yes.
This has happened over and over again. Who was the more harmful? The politics, the police, the that let manned pussy, or the people selling pussy. We're kind of catch-22 here.
I mean, it is interesting to me, like, what we choose to focus on and what we choose to criminalize. And 1975 is a really interesting time because this is the culmination of a lot of different movements, right? Like, this is after the civil rights movement. This is the height of the international women's movement. There's a lot of social unrest that's happening. A lot of big ideas are being challenged, which, I mean, like, I don't want to be too excited, but it feels like we're living through another moment of social upheaval where we have another opportunity to throw rocks at big ideas here. So the prostitutes of France have had enough, and they get into that sort of magical place of nothing left to lose, right? So in 1973, in August, they put together a rally trying to use public protest to raise concerns about their issues, and they're absolutely mocked. The protest is not well attended. The sex workers are terrified of being outed. They're terrified of being arrested. They're terrified of being ridiculed. They're absolutely right. So, like, barely 30 people show up to this thing. They are humiliated by the press, and then they're actually held in custody by the police that they're trying to communicate with, that they're trying to negotiate with. But fast forward a couple of years later, with the help of a lot of different organizers, some Catholic affiliated, they have the brilliant idea of occupying a church in Lyon. And they do so for 8 miraculous days. 100 prostitutes.
Now, he had done this before. He had been in defense of prostitutes before.
Yeah, and when you say he, I'm like, I'm
Louis Blanc.
Yes, that's
Father Louis Blanc.
Yes, Father Louis Blanc is a supporter of sex workers.
Sympathizer.
He's a huge sympathizer, and the Catholic Church and like the Christian tradition has a long history of supporting sex workers. Mary Magdalene was Jesus's favorite apostle.
Yeah,
and this Father Louis Blanc specifically had been working, a lot of the prostitutes in his area were a part of his parish. They were devout Catholic, so they were within the community, and he'd been working with them before. So those personal connections. And then, ironically, because the police had been so aggressively cracking down on sex workers, they had actually, like, rounded them up.
This had became...
Well, they put them in cells for hours and hours and hours at a time, which ended up, ironically, fostering community and fostering solidarity.
Sanctuaries for them.
Yeah.
And we needed sanctuaries. Back then, it was strongly needed. And we needed, I don't know if this makes sense, but we needed clergy to back us up.
Yes.
Because then it humanized prostitution, which the government had demonized.
Yes.
So having the church behind us really meant a lot, especially in France.
Well, it was so interesting looking at like the tactics that the police used to try to discredit this protest that had the backing of the Catholic Church, labor organizers, and mainstream feminists. And they were the official government position was these women are being manipulated by pimps and procurers and don't know what they're talking about. That was like, so it rings the same as like you talk about the abolitionist movement here, you talk about the official government position, Operation Rescue are saying that we are the victims of our own trauma and we don't know what we're talking about.
We still don't know, sweetie.
Yeah.
We still don't. We're being
the same
brainwashed.
Script. Right. Like what an insulting position. So June 2nd, 100 women march in, they hang a banner that says, "Our children do not want their mothers going to jail," which is a cry that I think has been heard across marginalized communities. This impulse to criminalize, this impulse to imprison, and this impulse to rip children out of the loving arms of their mother in the name of compliance is a disgusting disease that ought to be eradicated from governments worldwide.
And they're still doing that today.
Absolutely.
If you have a case and you're a sex worker, they're going to try to take your child away from you because you're a bad parent.
Right.
But you've provided everything your child has needed. But you're still a bad parent only because you're a sex worker? Oh, sweetie, I know people that are not sex workers that are bad parents.
Well, it's especially infuriating, the hypocrisy of a government that passed Sesta Fosta ostensibly to protect children from traffickers, that allows the victims, these children who are seeking asylum, or the children of people who have been abducted essentially by ICE, to be literally given over to the hands of traffickers. This government is not interested in protecting you or your children from exploitation.
This government has been known to take away an abused child, put them in foster care to be abused.
Yeah, it's just continuing the cycle.
It's a continuing cycle.
It's like gaslighting we were talking about. It's like the police are not there to protect you from violence. They're perpetuating it.
Well, that they didn't protect me.
Well, it's as true in 1975 as it is now.
Yeah. Yeah, the relevance is that their job, so quote unquote, is to protect humanity, to make you safe.
Yeah. It's a lie that doesn't get any more true the more often it's repeated. But we see over and over and over again governments, police, authoritarian regimes trying, or even abusive boyfriends for that matter, trying to use the lie that once you do sex work, you are no longer entitled to protection, love, basic human dignity, that like this one thing eradicates your basic humanity.
Kind of like marrying a cop. 'Cause once you're marrying a cop, don't you ever complain about it.
Yeah, that's
especially if you're being abused.
You'll run up against that big blue wall.
Yeah.
So the occupation of the church in Lyon is incredibly successful. It spreads through 5 other cities and garners international attention. Now, all of a sudden, everyone is talking about sex workers, and they get an incredibly favorable response, actually, considering the time. A lot of people immediately understand that putting mothers in jail is like not a way to help anybody, and that not going after serial killers is not hugely beneficial. Feminists join the movement. Labor organizers join the movement. Simone de Beauvoir joins the sex workers in France. And so for 8 days, these women hold the mic. But just like Occupy Wall Street and many, many other successful progressive movements, after 8 days, the police break in with riot gear and police and brutally beat the organizers of this movement.
And we've seen this.
Shun everyone into submission.
Yeah, we've seen this. We've seen Occupy Wall Street.
Yep.
We've seen people like Flawless Sabrina bail out countless sympathizers and organizers who are out there. In this present day with Sesta and Foster being against us, we need those funds. We damn sure need Father Louis Blanc.
Yes.
We need one now. We need to have that support of the church.
We need to have the support of people that are connected to mainstream movements. And that's something that, you know, on this day, I think it's important for us to sort of gather around and see. It's really difficult to organize criminalized populations. It's really difficult to organize populations that are running scared for their lives.
I think one of the strongest things we're doing this year because of this movement is letting community know we're here for you.
Yeah.
We stand together and united and fuck them. Fuck them with a donkey dick. Fuck them. But we have to show community that we're here, that we're resilient. We are capable of withstanding it, and we are capable of fighting this.
And I have to say that I think that there is this magic moment right now with Stormy Daniels as a national hero of the left.
I love her. She's
I
the
love
gift.
her.
She's the gift. She's like penicillin right now.
She's incredible. She's a uniting force.
So is Siraj Patel, by the way.
Absolutely. And we're getting into that. But like Stormy Daniels is a hero of the left. And Sesta Fosta is like the clear enemy that is radicalizing and certainly uniting and politicizing the sex worker movement. And I think that we are really an underestimated population. I mean, you combine the student debt crisis and the anonymity of the internet. You talk about the number of people that have done some kind of sex work. If that
think of
identity,
most of our professionals, medical, legal, a lot of people have been involved.
Everybody knows a whore. Every single person.
1 or 2 or 3 or 4.
It's like we're being attacked with the Sesta Fosta thing, which is like radicalizing and uniting us. But we have figures like Stormy Daniels that are really penetrating and like challenging the stigma that has silenced us for so long. I think that we have this one magic moment to come up with like a national movement to demand what we want. And I think that it's folks like Siraj Patel that, you know, are really carrying that gauntlet for us. So Siraj Patel is running for national office, House of Representatives in New York 12. The primary is June 24th. It's an overwhelmingly Democratic district. So if he wins the primary, he's going to win the general. And he is the first person running for federal office explicitly supporting sex workers, calling out Sesta Fosta for the pile of dog shit bullshit that it is. And I think that if we can elect this guy as a community, we can change the narrative about sex workers, and we can be recognized for the political force.
We can have somebody fighting for us that believes in us.
And I think that we can, I mean, if Siraj Patel is successful, he's the first candidate supporting sex workers, but he's not the last. Well, he's the only one right now.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be the last. I mean, like, how many private conversations have we had with politicians where they're like, obviously we support you, but we're afraid to say so publicly.
Yeah. Because we need somebody at the top
Yep.
to fight for this law to be abolished. We need somebody that wants to fight for our rights, that understands us, or is willing to hear us in a humanizing way.
And I think that like getting involved in local elections, I mean, I've found a lot of support of just like showing up to rallies, showing up to canvassing, showing up to events and saying like, hi, my name's Kaytlin. I'm a sex worker. I'm here to support. And you see in people's faces that like, they don't really know what to do with that kind of like casual outing, but also they'll hand you a clipboard and
push you out.
Well, yeah, to go out and do the work, but now you're involved. Now you're a part of the campaign. Now you've got a seat at the table. And I think that that's something that we can do is integrate ourselves into local candidates and make sure that somebody is there, that they don't forget about the oldest profession.
I know there are parts of New York City where there was heavy sex work at one time. I don't know what they're like, Sunnyside, Queens, Jackson Heights, some parts of Brooklyn, where sex work was heavily in the population. Now I don't know what it looks like because of this law. I don't know who still has a place to live because of Sesta and Forster. Are we equipped to house and school and educate a community that you're just dropping off or arresting? Or tagging, trafficking on?
I mean, this is not the first time that we've been targeted by a hostile state.
Oh,
you know, I mean, like sex workers, but we're like cockroaches. We're resilient.
Oh, honey, we're gonna come back.
We are gonna come back, and we're gonna come back stronger. And I think that we can look to the organizers and the old pros that came before us for examples of like what are effective organizing techniques. Who are the allies that we should be reaching out to? What are the messaging campaigns that work? Because like, I don't know, hostile police states just aren't that creative. They're probably going to come at us with riot gear and dogs and threatening to take our children away and threatening to take our livelihood away. What can we come back at them with? What can we ask for? What is the legal status that we want? Because like one of the fears that I have talking to organizers is that I really don't want to fight for legalization, or I don't want to fight for a future where we basically turn sex work into like the next wage slave job, you know, where you're like,
that's what it's going to be.
We're worried about that, right?
That's
so like,
what it's going to be.
How do we prevent that from happening? What are the things that we can ask for as a community where we fight to eradicate stigma, but we don't end up painting ourselves into a more dangerous box where we have to like register or work.
Sort of like legalizing marijuana.
Right, yeah.
Sort of like the methadone program.
That's a really great example because like marijuana is an example where like we have so many black and brown entrepreneurs in jail right now while people like John Boehner look to get rich on an industry that he fought to criminalize. I mean, how do we prevent that from happening to the sex work community?
We have to be a part of the narrative. We have to be right there at the table. We have to actually lift up Siraj Patel.
Yep.
We have to find more Siraj Patels. We need Cynthia Nixon to get on board. I don't know what her beliefs are, but we need help. We need women to stand up. It's wonderful a man is, but we need women. We need clergy.
Yep. Sex work is a lot like sex and a lot like work. It's all kinds of people doing all kinds of things for all kinds of reasons,
funny money,
having all kinds of feelings about it. So the fact that there's this narrative, this sticky caricature of
around
a
sex,
desperate, drug-addled, like whatever woman who is being pimped out by preferably some hated racial minority, like it's that story just doesn't. It's like the same story of
it's that pretty woman narrative that we're just all downtrodden and beat up and illiterate. By the way, we have to be illiterate.
Well, it's because the stigma keeps us silent. That story perpetuates itself, right? Because when we were beating, like gay men into oblivion, we convinced all of them essentially that they were isolated, mentally ill, cancerous, damaged, that this was the sign of like some horrible thing.
The apocalypse.
Yes, and it took a movement to say like, no.
Actually, they were on the news saying it. It's the gay apocalypse.
It's the gay apocalypse, right? Like that's going to be way more fun than the nuclear apocalypse that we're all marching so aggressively towards. But I think that it's going to take all of our voices and all of our stories coming out and challenging the notion, like, fuck what you think you know.
And we need to get in bed with our congressmen and our politicians. We need to be in there. And when I say in bed, I don't mean in their bed.
We're already in their bed.
We need to be in their offices. We
Yes.
need to be challenging them to challenge this bill. We need to be fighting.
I think what we've learned from social movements before is that there is a power in having nothing to lose. There is a power in being so marginalized, so overly policed, so brutalized that it's like, you already have me backed up against a wall. Like, what else can I do but walk into the fire? It can't get worse than this.
No, it really can't. It really can. I think in this present stage that we're in, June 2nd, And all of you need to be down for this. Get your asses out of bed this morning.
Right.
Come outside, shake your tail feather, and fight for something. Oh, my God. Fight, yeah. Hang your thong outside the window, preferably red, but that's okay if you want color. But come out and be a part. Exercise that crotch, honey. Get out.
And I think that we can I think that Sesta Fosta has politicized a lot of sex workers, and I think that we can come out in droves, right? Bring your red umbrella to your local primary.
Bring your boots.
Find out who your local representatives are. The cool thing about the fucked up political system in this country is that it's actually pretty penetrable. It's not going to take that many people in these hyper local elections to make real change happen. And I think that if sex workers come out in droves, we can make this a party. So listen, hoes, start throwing primary day parties. Start throwing primary day specials.
We should have
Find out who your local representative is. Find out whether or not they support hoes, whether, out front or on the down low, and then support them or don't. But no one's going to give you a seat at the table. You just have to take it. I'd be curious to see some old pros running for Congress, right?
I would love it. I would like Stormy Daniels to run right now.
I really think she should.
I think she should. I think that's a platform.
She did run for Senate. So I think that there are a couple of different tactics that organizers have used, or a couple of different asks. I think that what we should be aiming for is to be left alone. I don't think that there's going to be a benefit to legalizing and regulating sex work, because I think it's impossible to do it without the whorephobia sinking in, right? I don't want the sex work to become the new abortion wars, right? With the trap laws, the targeted restrictions for abortion providers, where it's technically abortion is legal in Mississippi, but there's only one clinic open 3 days a week, and it's impossible.
And they might want to blow that up at any day.
Exactly. So we want to keep this disparate and individual. We want people, some people want to work in brothels, and some people want to work independently. Some people want to work with friends.
And they should be able to.
They should be able to do all of it.
What does that say for the businessman that wants to go into business for himself, and he is a tool, and what he's doing is horribly wrong, but it's okay for him. Mm-hmm. It's okay for him. But my body doesn't have the choice to do what I want with it. It just sucks.
Yeah, no, it seems weird to me that there are so many business out there that are legal that do way more harm than any sex worker has ever done. It's but I think that if we're gonna have to do a lot in order to get where we're going, and there are a lot of pitfalls on the way. I think one of the worst things that could happen is us putting all of our energy towards legalizing prostitution only to find ourselves. What's going to happen
is people are going to start getting hurt. Many people are already getting arrested. Mm-hmm. Trans women are already being stamped out all around the world. Mm-hmm. It's only going to get worse by two words, Sesta and Fosta. Mm-hmm. So you further push us into this marginalized community that we've been trying to box our way out of.
Right. I think that storytelling is the answer. If we can break the narrative, right? If we can interrupt the story that the state tells about what it means to be a sex worker, then all of a sudden all of the justifications behind rounding us up and beating us down and making us go away just dissolves.
How do you make a whore that is so proud to be a whore? How do you beat me down? Because that's not going to happen. I'm going to bang the drum, and I'm going to advocate for people that sell themselves. It's just me.
Absolutely. Well, to celebrate International Whores Day.
Hi ho, hi ho.
Hi ho, hi ho. Tell a friend about this podcast. Support us on Patreon. We've got a ton of great content coming up. You can listen to Cayenne's speech that she gives to the folks outside of Stonewall on June 2nd on our Patreon account. You can listen to
at 2:30 in the afternoon.
It's gonna be great. You can listen to Aditi give some advice on how to know your rights and how to interact with the police if it comes to that, which increasingly it looks like it's fucking coming. We've seen these patterns before, folks. We already know how these stories end. Please rate, review, give us a rate, give us a review, share the podcast. There are 1,000 ways to support. And again, if you're in District 12, if you're in New York 12, then vote for Suraj Patel in the primary June 26th. And if you're not in that district, consider giving him money, because I think that if we can flip this election, if this becomes a win for sex workers, we can change the national story around this political movement, and we can put sex workers at the front of the resistance.
Yes.
And I think that that's what has to happen. We've done it before, folks. We had international support in 1975. There's no reason to think that we can't form a similar coalition. There are so many people that are already with us on these issues. We just have to make our voices heard. Thank you so much for listening. This has been
The Oldest Profession.